Bitcoin had another very interesting week and we saw a pump to the $69,000, so this is crazy of course. And this price action is beautiful to see. And in this video I'm going to tell you the exact reason why Bitcoin is pumping and why we are seeing such bullish price action for Bitcoin. There's a lot of interesting news coming into the market and a lot of data which proves Bitcoin is looking very bullish. I'm also going to have a look at the two altcoins Bittensor TAO and Chainlink, but about that later in the video. So if you want to be updated about the market for Bitcoin and you want to know everything what's going to be next for Bitcoin in the coming week, just sit back, relax, watch this video all the way to the end. Don't forget to like the video and let's dive right into the charts. As I was saying, yesterday Bitcoin pumped to the $69,000, but then we saw a little bit of a decline back to the lower $68,000. And Bitcoin opened the CME gap around the $68,417, so this is of course a very bullish CME gap. And I expect that Bitcoin is going to trade around this level during the weekend and that we're not going to see a lot of volatility just like in the last weekends. And just like the last weekends, I expect that Bitcoin will close the CME gap shortly after the weekend will be over. So I don't expect a lot of volatility during this weekend and I think Bitcoin will trade around this level. So if Bitcoin is going to close this CME gap after a weekend, then we can just trade freely and then Bitcoin can just pick a side to the top side or either the downside. And if we have a look at the 1 hour time frame for Bitcoin, we can see Bitcoin is currently in this rising wedge formation. We can see multiple touch points on the top side as resistance and also on the low side we can see this beautiful uptrend and it acts as support. But of course this rising wedge formation is a typical bearish bias pattern because we are seeing diminishing highs and we are also coming a lot of times at this lower side support. So every time we touch this lower side support it becomes a little bit weaker. So this rising wedge formation could break down in the coming days and that we're going to see a bearish move of course. But of course there's also a bullish scenario and that we're going to break out to the top side. And that of course will create more and more exponential gains for Bitcoin. But of course we are now in this huge uptrend on the 1 hour time frame and also on the higher time frame. So we potentially also see a throwback to low levels to test it as a support again and from there we can continue the bullish uptrend to the top side. And yesterday we saw a huge bullish day for the Bitcoin spot ETFs again. We saw a total volume surpass the $2.1 billion again. And yesterday we also saw a huge bullish inflows of the Bitcoin ETFs. And in total we saw $273.7 million of inflows. And this was insane of course. And we can see we had some very bullish days in the last week. And now we're coming to this $21 billion total cumulative spot inflow. So this is looking insane of course, and now we're seeing this spike to the top side just like I've been telling you about in the last weeks. And now we're seeing this spike to the top side and the next big target for the total cumulative spot inflow will be the $25 billion. So the Bitcoin spot ETFs are showing a lot of strength in this week. So let's see if next week we can continue this bullish streak. And if we then have a quick look at the Ethereum ETFs, we can see we had a bullish inflow of $2 million yesterday. So this is a little bit of a neutral day. So let's see if next week can be also a little bit more bullish for the Ethereum ETFs. And if we then have a look on the daily time frame for Bitcoin with these horizontal support and resistance areas, we can see that Bitcoin pumped through the 69,000, but this huge horizontal support around the 68,000 is a little bit too strong for now. And we can see a lot of price interactions happening with this level. And in the past we can also see a lot of interactions happening. So this is a very big level for Bitcoin to gain in the coming days. But we could also potentially see a little bit of a retracement back to the previous resistance area to test it as support. And from there we can just aim for higher target and that will still be bullish because then Bitcoin would still be in a bullish uptrend to on the daily time frame. So this previous resistance hasn't been tested as support and that will be around the 66,000. So of course Bitcoin could also pump straight through this level and that the resistance is going to be tested as support. And then the next big resistance will be around the 71.5k. So this could be a very bullish scenario of course for Bitcoin. But for now we are at this level and this will be the next make or break level for Bitcoin. And if we have a look at another chart on the Bitcoin daily time frame, we can see Bitcoin shifted this downtrend into an uptrend and now we're creating its higher high and this is looking very bullish of course. But of course we are now creating this higher high and we want to gain this previous high. So we could potentially also see a higher low getting created and after that we want to see a new higher high and higher low and then we can just continue the bullish uptrend to the top side on the daily time frame. So if Bitcoin is going to create a higher low, I'm very interested in entering the markets around here, and this higher low could possibly be a little bit at this place because we can see a lot of resistance was coming into the market here, and now we can possibly turn it into support, and that would be a very interesting place to for a higher high. So if we're going to see a retracement back to a higher low, I'm going to enter the market again for Bitcoin. Because we always have to trade with the trend, and the trend is your friend until it ends. So in every dip of this huge uptrend, I'm going to buy every dip. And if we have a look at the fear and greed index for Bitcoin, we can see we are now back in greed. And last week and last month we were at stages of neutral, and even we saw the stages of fear. So as I'm always saying, I'm always buying in stages of fear. And now in the stages of greed, you can take in a little bit of your profits, because this is showing that a lot of people are interested in buying Bitcoin again. So if we're in stages of greed, I'm going to take in a little bit more profits, because eventually we will go back to stages of fear, and that's the exact point I'm going to buy more Bitcoin. And if we zoom out all the way to the monthly chart for Bitcoin, we can see a very bullish chart is unfolding, because we can see Bitcoin was in this huge consolidation formation for the last 8 months. And now we're seeing a very bullish monthly candle of October. So this is looking very beautiful. And now we can see from this huge bear market lows, after this huge consolidation, we can now see a new exponential move is occurring for Bitcoin. So let's see if Bitcoin can close this monthly candle of October above this huge resistance area, and that would mean that we're going to confirm the breakout. And of course we could potentially also see a retest of this resistance to turn it into support, but I want just to see another exponential move to the top side, and that we're coming to this $100,000 level, and that of course will be having a very bullish effect on the price of Bitcoin. And one of the big reasons Bitcoin was pumping yesterday is because of this SEC approves the New York Stock Exchange options trading on the spot Bitcoin ETFs. So this is looking very bullish. So a lot of liquidity is going to enter the market, and this will having a lot of bullish effect on the price of Bitcoin. And eventually everyone wants to have Bitcoin, and also options trading on the spot Bitcoin ETFs is one of the most interesting things to see, because a lot of liquidity will enter the market. And this is very bullish for Bitcoin and the crypto space overall. And the first interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is Bittensor TAO. We can see Bittensor TAO was in the last months in this huge falling wedge formation to the downside. We broke bullish, we retested its previous resistance as support, and from there I was saying that I'm going to enter the market also at a huge support level on the downside, and also we saw a huge bullish retest. So on my socials I've been saying that I was buying more TAO at this place, and also at this next bullish retest at the support I was buying more TAO, and from this bullish retest you could potentially already make more than a 200%. So that was an insane trade of course to make, but of course on the way up I'm always taking profits at these huge resistance areas, but we broke it to the top sides, which was very beautiful to see. And now TAO is retracing all the way back to this huge previous resistance to turn it into support. So this could be your first interesting place to buy more TAO. But of course we could potentially also see a little bit more downside in the coming days, and that we're going back to the previous resistance to turn this as support, and probably we could also come back to this support. So every time we touch this support I'm going to buy more TAO, because TAO is still in this huge uptrend, and every time we come back to the support, this is a very interesting opportunity for you to buy more TAO. But for now we are holding very strong on the top side, and this falling wedge formation still has a breakout target of this top side formation that will be around the $730. And the next interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is Chainlink. We can see Chainlink also was in this huge falling wedge formation in the last months, and we can see a huge breakout was occurring. We saw a retest of the previous resistance to turn it into support, and from there we entered the market for Chainlink in the long, just like I've been telling you about on my socials. And from this level you could potentially make a 24% increase, so that was also a very interesting trade to make. But for now we can see this huge horizontal level is a little bit too strong for now. And we can also see a huge rejection from this level. We're coming back to this lower side support, and now we can see that Chainlink is holding strong. So Chainlink is now inside of this huge horizontal range, and eventually we need to pick a side. So is it going to be a break to the top side, a break to the downside, or are we just going to range for eternity? But of course we want to see a break to the top side, a retest of the resistance to turn it into support, and then we can aim for high targets. And the breakout target of this falling channel hasn't been reached yet of course, and that will be the top side of the formation, which will be around the $18 or $19. So this could be a very interesting trade to make if we're going to break this through this huge resistance. And on this retest I'm going to buy more link for the top side, and then we can come back to this breakout target. Please give a like if you find this video useful. Don't forget to follow me on my other socials and hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.